That's why we want to form a queue, please.
The event was a press conference on sex trafficking organized by the Gloria Steinem Equality Fund to end sex trafficking in partnership with Associate Zone Iroko Onlus.
All right, thank you very much.
The movie Oloture provided context for the discussion as it vividly illustrated the many layers of human trafficking. The 2019 Ebony Live production, directed by Kenneth Yang and situated in Nigeria, was an expose on the interweb of forces that control the complex sex trafficking networks. The storyline had Oloture, a Nigerian journalist, going undercover to investigate the multi-billion-dollar prostitution and human trafficking rings, as well as the diverse forces that collaborate to control it, employing violence, transactional sex, corruption, and rape. The movie was revealing on the role of politicians, the immigration service, and even family members.
And I will get to the end of it. With or without you.
It elicited emotional responses from the viewers that included international delegates from Sweden, Argentina, France, and Spain, as well as advocates against sex trafficking.
Honestly, I'm not surprised, but I'm kind of happy not to be surprised because I'm happy to see a very realistic movie on the prostitution system. Not a movie that normalizes it, that makes it look better as it is.
After the movie screening, a four-man panel, which included a former South African sex trafficking victim, Mickey Meji, shared some real-life experiences, which included being referred to as a sex worker.
I think I've said this to the UN Human Rights Commissioner a few years back. Whether or not you call me a sex worker, a prostitute, a whore, it does not change my experience. In fact, I feel utterly insulted when somebody refers to me as sex worker, and also utterly insulted when somebody refers to my experience in the sex trade as sex work.
She considers this as society's attempt to make prostitution appear fashionable, whereas it should be highly condemned.
I know it's a living fact, and I know this from experience. And the last scene where, in full view of people and law enforcement people who were just ignorant while this woman was being beaten up, being carried unconscious on a shoulder of a man, reminds me of a place called, in South Africa, where I come from, there is a big brothel, so where these women will end up when they go to Europe. A big brothel called Mavericks, which is situated just opposite the police station. And in South Africa, if I may say, the legal framework criminalizes all aspects of the system of prostitution, including pimping, brothel keeping, the sale and the purchase of sexual acts. But still, this goes on right opposite. If you go to Cape Town, Batekan Street, the police station is holding one corner and Mavericks holds one corner. And they have the audacity to fly an aircraft advertising and recruiting and telling men that they've got women for sale.
So prostitution cannot be defined as sex work because it's a contradiction in terms. What removes your dignity is not something that you would call work.
Because I have learned a lot about sex work and how we subconsciously do not know how these things work, in terms of how you can go to a club and you do not know if probably the strippers are there voluntarily or are there against their own will. You do not know about how sex work could probably be a form of sex trafficking. The thin line is very thin, but we're learning every day, and I keep on learning, and I learned a lot. So what I would like to know is probably how can we engage men, because men are the consumers of the sex market.
In response to audience questions on how transactional sex can be demarketed to stop the unwholesome demand, French Delegate Executive Director CAP Jonathan Machla said policies that stifle the trade is the way to go.
Regarding how we engage men, I just want to share a very concrete experience from France, for instance, because in France we have this law now that was created, I mean, this model, this abolitionist model, was created by Sweden in 1999, and then other countries adopted it in Norway, Iceland, Ireland, Northern Ireland, France, Canada, and now Israel. It's a model in which the prostituted persons are not penalized, they are decriminalized. They are provided with an exit pathway, including vocational training, psychological support, a title of residency if they are undocumented.
Senator Betty Apiafi, the first female senator from Rivers State, who is also a frontline voice against sex trafficking and violence against women and children, reacted to the depiction of politicians in the movie Oloture as partakers in the web of violence and prostitution.
There's need to stop the demand, because for as long as there is demand for sex, the traffickers will continue to traffic, so it's, again, like they said, it criminalize the demand. Then, of course, do enlightenment to make more men get involved. And again, the lady from South Africa says something interesting. She doesn't allow television to be watched in her house because television is not depicting the truth about sex trade. So we need more of this kind of movies, more of this showing on our television, so that people will understand the dangers involved.
Nkechi Enete, Deputy Controller, Immigration, however, disagreed with the portrayal of the Immigration Service as part of the collaborators in the nefarious business.
I want to ask you, I hope you're not pissed off with what you said.
I was a little pissed off because immigration has moved from that to where we are now. And where we are, our CG has been training and retraining us on how to treat. Well, there's even this course on hostmanship. So we've been having that training all over and over and over so that we will know how things are. And then we have MIDAs there in the entry points. That's what we use now. So there's no way, from that movie that people can now can do anything by on prosy, passing. No, it's not done. I think, subsequently before making this type of movie, the producer should have worked harder. Made some more research before maybe bringing in old immigration. We've passed that stage.
This collaborative effort essentially seeks to find a way to end human trafficking in Nigeria.